If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, as well as follow me and subscribe to me on all my other social media platforms. What's up, Thrashers, and welcome back once again to the Thrash Maniac 99 YouTube channel, and I am back with yet another two-parter of Under the Radar for this week. We're talking about 6 other albums that came out on June 9th of 2023, and this is pretty much mostly underground minus one band, but we'll be covering that band in the next part, which will be out on Thursday. But anyways, so before we get started, a reminder, there is currently a giveaway going on right now for the time I reach 4,000 subscribers. There is a video for that in the channel page. It should be the channel trailer. Just go click on that video, watch it, and leave a comment in the comment section below of that video. And if you enter, you get a chance to win possibly 8 CDs now. It was 6, but there's going to be 2 more added to the giveaway, so do yourself a favor and enter. But let's go ahead and get started with Under Radar. We're kicking things off with a debut album from a new band, and I'm going to try my best to pronounce it. Takacs, or Takacs? I probably butchered that, with an album called Deadfall. So this is a crossover thrash band from my neck of the woods, or not really the city, but the state, Columbus, Ohio. So I immediately wanted to take a look at this band and see what they were all about, and pretty much this is some pretty solid crossover thrash, like a great balance of like hardcore punk attitude, D-beats, and breakdowns, with thrash metal heaviness, intensity, and just all-out brutality, just mashed together. And of course, like, there's little tinges of melody that come in on the guitars, which does help make this something unique for a crossover band. Although I will say, while the production and the mix was actually really, really good, my biggest gripe, and it did kind of ruin the album for me, the vocals are not great on here. Like, I don't know how to describe it. It just kind of waned on me throughout the album. It was like, the instrumentals, like the musicianship, really solid. The vocals kind of killed it for me a little bit. But overall, if you are a fan of bands like, I would say, Enforced, MOD, Suicidal Tendencies, and like early DRI, this is some solid stuff if you can look past the vocals. I give this a 7.5 out of 10. There is some potential here. It's just I'm hoping the vocals get improved on, at least for me. And I think I'll give this band another chance whenever they do release another album. But now we move on to the next album for part 1, and that is Imperishable with Come Sweet Death. So this is a debut band, a new band out of Sweden. This is some Swedish death metal, and to no shock, sounds like classic Swedish death metal. That Boss HM2 tone is all over the map. And of course, you know me, I'm a big whore for that sound, because that's probably the best guitar tone in death metal history, is the Boss HM2 tone. And while this is pretty much straight up Swedish death metal, I will argue it's kind of almost a hybrid of classic Swedish death, like the Stockholm sound, and a little bit of the Gothenburg sound. Like, I got hints of At the Gates on this album when it came down to the melodies on this album, especially in the guitar solos. Like, the solos, super melodic and really well constructed. Bounces everywhere from groove to maybe even like maybe 3% of doom on here, but there's plenty of thrash to keep in that like classic Swedish death metal sound. The vocals are kind of like almost like a hybrid of like black metal, thrash metal, and death metal vocals. And overall, I really dug this album, because this felt like I said, a proper hybrid of the Stockholm sound and the Gothenburg sound, even though it's way more on the Stockholm side than it is on the Gothenburg side. But if you are a fan of At the Gates, Bloodbath, Dismember, and Entombed, you're going to really dig this. 8.5 out of 10. This is a really damn good album. Highly recommend you guys check it out. And this is a debut band. Really good debut right here. But now we get to the final album of part 1 of this week's Under the Radar, and that is Lex Luger's finishing move, The Torture Rack, with Primeval Onslaught. This is a death metal band out of Portland, Oregon on 20 Bucks Spin, which 20 Bucks Spin, pretty solid label, and generally everything I've heard from 20 Bucks Spin has been pretty damn good. So yeah, some death metal. However, this is definitely American death metal for the most part, like almost like the hybrid of, I would say, bands like Broken Hope, Blood Red Throne, Cannibal Corpse, and Baphomet. So that kind of chuggy, like that triplet chuggy, groovy, thrashy, old school death metal that hinges, or that, not hinge, but almost leans a little bit towards a little bit of a brutal death metal edge, because the vocals are just absolutely disgusting on here, and the production, raw but with a really solid mix. Like I said, the guitar tone, gross sounding, triplet chugs, dirty tremolos, thrashy moments, grooves, and pummeling brutality. Pretty much every note you get from the bands I mentioned, you know, Blood Red Throne, Broken Hope, Cannibal Corpse, and Baphomet. But yeah, overall, I thought this album was absolutely excellent for this, like, old school death metal sound. 9 out of 10. I absolutely enjoyed this whenever I was listening to it. And it's a pretty short album, under 27 minutes, so it doesn't overstay its welcome. And it's just all about getting right to the point, just beating you up with riffs. So yeah, 9 out of 10. But of course, these are all just my opinions. What did you guys think of these 3 albums? And of course, the albums themselves will be in the description box for you guys to check out. But until next time, keep your horns high and your dreams wet.